Joshua, just to take us through, what EOR is and how does it compare to PO and AOR?
Good afternoon, good evening from where you are. My name is Joshua, and as Zip was introduced, I'm the payroll ops manager here and the compliance manager here at Workpay, where we oversee global compliance in terms of helping our EOR clients be compliant across multiple jurisdictions. So thanks, Zippo. Just to explain the differences between the three business models, the POR, which is the professional organization, professional employee organization, EOR, which is the employer of records, and AOR, which is agency of record. So for POE, the professional employee organization, this is a third-party company that provides comprehensive human resource solutions for businesses. So think of it more of a co-employment business model where a company just wants their HR responsibility to be handled by a third-party organization, which in this case will be PO. So it mostly works where a company has entities in the jurisdiction in which they are operating. When it comes to EOR, EOR is slightly different from PEO in this aspect that the EOR model just provides the employer the legal employment on paper. So a company, business might not have an entity in their country of operations, so they will approach an EOR agency and who will provide employment on record for the employees. So with this, the business will be managing their core day-to-day activities, while the compliance, the contracts, the payroll, the tax filing will be handled by the EOR agency. So this one is a model that is mostly used by businesses that do not have entities in jurisdiction in which they intend to operate. For the AOR model, this one is basically an agent of record where a business might want to engage contractors, and a third company that provides AOR, like Workpay, will come in and help that business to source agents, or if the business already has its own preferred agents, we will just help the business to handle the tax, the legal tax and administrative aspect of compliance. Yes, so that is the distinctions between the three. So for the two, we're dealing with employment, that is whether short-term employments, whether long-term, part-time, but for the AOR, we are specifically dealing with independent contractors. Yes.
Sure. Thank you so much for that detailed explanation, Josh. And obviously, there can be some misclassification of the two. What are some of the risks involved when a company chooses the incorrect model?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there's a huge risk when it comes to misclassification. This is where a business might want to involve might have engagements with an employee, but they will approach an agency of record, and the agency of record will misclassify this as contractors. So what happens is that for contractors, the taxes are just very minute. They're always like 5%, 15%, as compared with the employee taxes that have aspects of pay, income tax, social security, health insurance. So with that, a business might end up finding themselves obligated to now have to do back taxes for these employees who are misclassified as contractors. And at times you'll find that these taxes might be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And this might actually drain a company and even lead to its closure. So it's a risk that should always be avoided. And it's not just, it's ensuring that you have classified your employees accordingly or your agents accordingly will help you to make compliance decisions, which will avoid a lot of commercial consequences. Yeah.
Sure. Thank you so much, Josh. I think just to get everyone engaged and ensure that we are all still on the same page, we'll just put up a poll, and if everyone can participate, that's on the call. And the poll will mainly just be about, understanding which of these models that we've just discussed you've previously heard about, or, if you think you understand them. The poll will come up just now. And I think while we wait for the poll to come up, this is also live on our YouTube channel, and will also be available. So if you'd like to share it with anyone that you maybe think would benefit from this conversation, please feel free to do so. Okay, I can see the poll is up and the votes have started. EOR coming up quite high. I think a lot of us have heard or know about EOR. Okay. I'll just give a few more minutes for everyone to just get their vote in and maybe share some of the results with you, but EOR is still leading, followed by PO. And I can see there's still a lot of work to be done with agency of record. Only a few people know about it. Okay. So about 83% of the people know what employer of record is, and about 33% of the people know what PO is, and we have EOR at 25%. So really interesting. I think EOR is quite popular. And I think moving on with the conversation, we'll maybe now get into the compliance complexities when it comes to cross-border hiring. And, maybe Josh, you can take us through some of the, the local labor laws or taxations and complexities when it comes to employment contracts that are involved in this.
Thanks, Zippo. So one of the biggest mistakes that companies do when doing cross-border hiring in terms of compliance is, one, assuming that what works for one country works for another country, or there is a one-size-fits-all sort of compliance. The other mistake that I've seen most businesses do is that they just start operations without having to understand the local laws in that country, what statutory deductions are supposed to be done, what do they need to register, and sometimes they feel like we will learn on the go, and they end up finding that it's actually not that easy to just start and run your business, especially in a new country. So every country has its own employment contract laws. Some countries have very strict employment contracts, like in Morocco, Tunisia, contracts have to be in French. And if you have to translate them to English, you have to find somebody who has who is legally obligated to do that for you. So you'll find that notice period are not the same in each country. They're so diverse. The tax laws vary. Statutory deductions such as the social securities, the health, you'll find that there are a lot of diverseness when it comes to payroll, running payroll in these different jurisdictions that a business might want to operate in. So, for example, we'll find that there is a housing levy in Nigeria, there's that or housing levy here in Kenya that you are not aware of. You will want to run business in South Africa. You might understand about SDL and UAF, but you might fail to be FOIDA registered, and down the line it will come to haunt you, and this might translate into a lot of penalties. So these are sort of mistakes that I see businesses doing. just assuming that what works in one country applies everywhere, and also just being ignorant of the local taxes. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, Josh. And I know you mentioned earlier that, with the classification of which service to choose, there can even be tax risks that, can be involved, and you can end up paying fines from previous years. I just want to, I want you to help us understand why compliance is a non-negotiable when it comes to, to cross-border hiring.
Yes, compliance is non-negotiable because in each and every jurisdiction, employees are so much protected by the government. And actually, you'll understand that in most governments, like the biggest source of income is through employment taxes. So that's why it's highly regulated in most countries, and that's why it's always non-negotiable, because it's a very sensitive area when it comes to government generating revenue. So they are always key to ensure that each and every company is actually compliant, so that first they get the source of revenue, and actually they are there to protect the employee. The government, they have all these bodies like the labor offices that are there to ensure that companies do not exploit employees. So you have, as a company, to be cognizant of the fact that in as much as you want to operate, you also have to play by the rules of the law of the jurisdiction in which you want to operate. So it's always non-compliant, because it might even lead to either your company being closed down, huge penalties, blacklisting, etc. And these are things that you don't want to be caught in the middle of as a business.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you so much, Josh. I think compliance in every country is always very sensitive, and I think you, as a company, you always want to make sure that you remain compliant at all times. I think maybe now you can tell us a bit more about how, organizations like Workpay that offer EOR can help companies stay compliant as legal employers in these countries.
Yes, so just to speak on how here at Workpay we help companies to stay compliant, we have all the three business models that I mentioned earlier, the EOR, PO, and AOR. So we also offer software as a service. This is just a company that wants to run its entire payroll without having to involve anyone. So we have created an entire ecosystem that helps companies to be compliant. So for a company that wants to engage with, let's say, a software engineer here in Africa, in a country, let's say Malawi, they don't have an entity, and they know they will be engaging this engineer for, let's say, a year. So it does not make sense for a business that has an entity in Europe to also set an entity in Malawi, so that they can just employ one engineer or two or five. It does not make sense. It's a lot of administrative work. So what they will do, they will approach Workpay, and we will assist. We will employ that senior engineer on their behalf, and they will deal with the engineer in terms of what he or she needs to deliver. The day-to-day businesses, we will not interfere that. We will just help the company to employ this engineer on record. We will pay the employee, file the taxes, and assist the employee in every HR aspect. So assume now this company decides to grow, to hire more engineers, and decides to set up a legal entity in Malawi. We don't part ways with them. So what we do, we offer the POE model, where we tell them, in this phase where you have already set up an entity, yes, but you have not yet put your ducks in order in terms of payroll processing, hiring, and of onboarding and offboarding. We will help with that. All these employees will now be under your entity. We'll just step in and help you process payroll and stay compliant and ensure that you are not missing anything. So once they do that for, let's say, a year or two, and they feel confident now they can do it on their own, that's when we offer them software as a service, where we just tell them, now this is the platform where all your employees are in this platform, run your payrolls, generate reports from here, file them, and now it's an entire ecosystem that we offer. You can see we have worked with this client from them not having an entity to having an entity to now when they're now fully independent and they need tools to be independent. We will offer them the tools. So that's how we help businesses here in across multiple jurisdictions to stay compliant. Zippo, back to you.
Sure. Thank you, Josh. I think what I'm also getting to understand is that if you haven't figured out, the complexities around compliance in these countries, it can take quite a long time for you to be able to, I think, to kickstart your operations in whatever country you want to expand into. It would take also quite a long time for you to be able to successfully hire. And I think that's where organizations like Workpay would come in to almost speed up that process. And like you said, after a year or two, if someone feels that they are now comfortable with how things operate, with the compliances around that, they can actually go solo and do that on their own. So thank you so much for that, Josh. We'll put up a second poll. And yeah, just encouraging everyone to participate. And this is really just to understand, when it comes to cross-border hiring, what are some of the things that, that keep you up at night? So yeah, this one is going to be quite an interactive poll. So we'll just give a minute for the poll to come up and we can just get everyone to chime in. I think while we wait for that poll to come up, I can see we've had so much more other attendees join. Maybe people can just let us know where they are joining from. I know a few people have already shared. It would be nice to understand the geographics of the rest of the attendees. Okay, I think we're having some technical difficulties with putting the poll up. So if you can maybe just type and let us know what are some of the things that, stress you out or keep you up at night when you think about hiring in a different market where you don't have an entity. Okay, I can see Texas is coming up. Thank you, Gilbert. I think let me repeat the question so we can have more people engaging. What are some of the things that, really stress you when you think about hiring or kickstarting a team in a different market where you are not familiar with the laws, and I think the taxes as well? So if you can just let us know.
Yes,
Okay, I can see we have a question from Robert. I'm not sure, Josh, do you want to take that?
Where is the best place to collect statutory information for other African countries? Please visit our website. We have an entire blog on the different statutory deductions in all the African countries. So feel free to reach to visit our website, and you'll have all the information you need.
Sure, thank you. I think we can, we can move to our next topic, Josh, which is obviously getting to understand the common misconceptions about EOR. I think I've spoken to a lot of people that think EOR is just, them outsourcing their payroll, or it means that we support with the entire control of the business. So can you maybe just, elaborate or clear some of that for us to really just maybe touch on the things that we will not do outside the hiring?
Yeah, so the biggest misconception or myth that people have about EOR is that you are taking control of your business. No. That's not what EOR is here for. For EOR specifically, you still, as a business, you still manage your recruitment, you still manage the employees, you'll still evaluate them. You'll basically do everything about what is you're supposed to do with your employees on a day-to-day activity. So where the EOR comes in is just to help you with the administrative bit of the HR processes. This is just things like paying your employees, running their payroll, statutory deduction, onboarding, offboarding. We just help you with these administrative HR tasks so that you stay compliant and on record, your employees are covered. They will still enjoy the benefits that for things like Social Security, should there be any accidents, and they will be covered with things like compensation levies, which will cover them in case of any accidents. So the employee will be covered in terms of benefits they should be enjoying from employers, while you as a business, you'll maintain your operation and how you manage the employees. So that is the best way to debunk this myth that EOR is actually taking over the business. No. So just the takeaway is that we don't come to replace your role as a business. What we are doing is just we're enforcing your growth while keeping you compliant, so that you focus on your forte while we help you with the administrative bits of your business.
Sure. I think in some of the conversations that I've had with people about EOR, something that has come up quite often is that, EOR is for enterprise businesses and not for small to medium businesses. Can you clarify that for us?
Yeah, it's not for the enterprise alone. It's for any business that wants to scale, any business that is not does not want to be bound by a jurisdiction in terms of its operation. You want talents from Malawi, but you want talent from South Africa. You want guys from Zambia. Mention whichever country you want to scale, but let's say you want to market your product in Uganda, and you don't have an entity in Uganda, you just want to sell a product there, you don't need to set an entity. So the EOR helps you find source, let's say sales representatives will help you scale. So you'll be able to sell your products in Uganda without setting an entity. So that's, we are basically, it's a model that helps each and every business to scale. Okay, so we handle the administrative bits, you handle your business, you handle how you want to scale. We have the tools that will help you do that. Yes.
Sure. And maybe I think just last one for you, Josh, before we move over to Jonathan. Maybe there are some attendees on the call that are in the process of, exploring EOR services or thinking about hiring in different markets. How can they best vet, EOR providers? How can we help them choose the right provider to go with? What are some of the things they need to look into?
Yeah, so the first thing they'll need to do is actually just have your ducks in order, understand what services are you looking for, and the length of the services that you want. Let's say you want to run a project in Malawi or Zambia that will just be a short project for 6 months. Then we'll just advise you for that project, this is the best business model for you, like EOR. If it is a project that will go for like 2 years, then EOR is not the right business for you, the right model for you, go to EOR. So the first thing you need to do to vet a good EOR provider, the first thing, it narrows down to 3 things, okay? So the first thing is how many jurisdictions are they in, okay? You don't want to have so many EOR providers because they are not in many jurisdictions. So you are dealing with one EOR provider in Ivory Coast, another one offering you services in Cape Verde. So what you need to do is just ensure that you have an EOR provider that is in multiple jurisdictions. The other thing, you need an EOR that knows the local rules, the local taxes. They have the knowledge of each and every country that they are in operation, and they're very ready to offer this information to you and to help you understand each and every element of their law in the jurisdiction in which you want to operate. The third thing that you should be looking out for is a company that is very transparent, okay? Because when you remember, this EOR model helps a business to be compliant, and you want a business that is very open in its operation, because you want, this is the business, the service they are offering, compliance. So if they can't be transparent with you, they need to give you upfront fees. They need to explain to you each and every statutory deduction and the cost of hiring in each and every country that you want to operate, so that when you start operation, they don't start coming to you and telling, hey, there's this tax that we forgot to tell you. Okay, so that is not very transparent. So you need to look for a company that is multiple jurisdiction, that are vast. They have vast knowledge of the jurisdiction in which they operate, and they are very transparent. Yes.
Sure. Thank you so much, Josh. I think there are some questions for you. So if you can just look through those. I think the first one is, how do you navigate the language differences, e.g. Mozambique and the DRC?
Yes, so for that, you'll at times you'll have to be forced to work with local partners who will help you navigate the language barrier. It's good to be cognizant of the fact that different countries speak different language. They prefer different languages as their official form of communication. So when you're operating that language, be prepared to involve partners who will help you navigate this challenge. Yes.
Sure. And I think the last one is, what is the difference between EOR and outsourced services?
So there's a fine line between EOR and outsource, and the fineness is in this. Outsource, it's a business that is trying to use a third party for services, for their main business services. Let me give you an example of a company that is in the construction sector, and what they want labor, people who can actually construct the house. So for outsourcing, what they will do, they will say, okay, we will just outsource the labor, okay, we will get guys who will run, we don't care whether they want to go on leave. We don't care how many they are. We just want the job done. Okay, that is outsourcing. So it's, in other terms, it's called labor management. You want somebody who will just manage the labor bit of it. For EOR basically is compliance, where you want to engage with employees, but you don't have a local entity in that region, and you in order for you to navigate this hurdle, you are looking for somebody who can employ these people on your behalf so that they help you achieve your goals on a day-to-day basis, and you will be the one managing the employees. For outsourcing, you might not be managing the employee, you just want the work done at a specified time. So that is the clear difference. It's always very fine, but it always drowns down to the core function of the business.
Sure. Thank you so much, Josh. Gilbert, I hope that answers your question. Thank you so much for that question as well. I think now we can move to Jonathan. Maybe Jonathan, you can just give us a brief introduction into what you do at Workpay, and then I think we will then get started with how where you come in and how you can share the knowledge with us.
Sure. Thanks for having me today, Zippo. I've been, learning a lot as well, also from Joshua here. I think he's pretty much touched a lot of the angles that we set to talk about today. Very, very knowledgeable about the industry. Yeah. So what I did is in expansion, mostly focusing on the EOR business, which I believe is the easiest way for companies to expand into Africa. I'm always very vocal about how bullish I am on Africa being the home of talent, and not only talent, but young talent. We average, I think, about 18 to 19 years across multiple African countries, at least across the continent. So this is the continent no longer of the future, but of the now. Yeah, so happy to be here, Zippo. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you so much, Jonathan. I think maybe you can kick us off with making us understand how, EOR enables businesses to really, grow fast into different markets or enter, different markets faster than they would if trying to set up their own entity.
That's a great question, Zippo. So EOR, as Joshua as well said, is employer of record. An employer of record in this case is to say that we as Workpay get to act on your behalf in whatever market that you look to expand into. And what that does, it allows companies to stick to their core. So you are in SaaS business, so your business is selling software. We allow you to stick to that. We allow you to get to the markets in under 1 or 2 weeks and set up, hire and onboard, and then be able to roll out the product to the actual customers. Maybe just to further expand on this is, Joshua did mention that this is the most lucrative, and if you're a very logical person, and most businesses are, you do the math and you understand that incorporating in some countries takes months. That is to say that you have months of missed revenue. We always, when we're calculating costs, and the accountants can help me with this, we also accommodate for cost of missed opportunity. So instead of you spending months, say average 2 to 3 months, trying to get an entity locally, you can just immediately plug into Workpay and hit the road running. Yes.
Sure. Thank you so much for that, Jonathan. I know Joshua covered that, EOR isn't just for enterprise companies, but small to medium businesses can also benefit from using EOR services to obviously scale and grow faster. Would you say there are any, different types of companies, I think just in terms of offering that, are best positioned to benefit from the EOR model?
Yeah, for sure. So Joshua did mention about this, and I like that he demystified the notion that EOR is for big companies, enterprises. It is not. It actually cuts across. And in fact, if you ask me, it is for scale-ups, it is for startups, it's for enterprises, it is for mid to SMEs as well, because we all need expansion. You know, with this African market, revenue in some cases is not only found in the local market, but also in the markets beyond the confines of the country. So enterprises can, and businesses and startups can greatly profit from scaling, and especially profit from it when it comes at, I would say, a discount. You know, as opposed to one where you set up an office, you set up an entity. Just imagine a situation where you can launch a product and be in, say, 3 countries from a simple plugin into Workpay. So you say launch in Kenya and you want to further expand into USA and Nigeria, you can simply do that in under 2 weeks. So that is the magic that EOR brings, and not only to big enterprises, but also to startups. One of the biggest pain points that startups have to deal with starting off is the race to profitability. And how you get to profitability the fastest is to save on cost and increase on revenue. So we handle the saving on cost and also the increase of revenue because they sort of complement each other in a way. So to answer your question, Zippo, this is a solution that caters for an end-to-end. It caters for across a big chunk of the market. I would say covers an end-to-end from as low as a startup to as big as a big behemoth, a big enterprise organization.
Sure. I think that makes perfect sense, Jonathan. And you know, I'm actually just wondering if you have any you know, real life use cases of businesses that have really scaled through the EOR model that you can share with us.
Yeah, for sure. We have, first of all, we pride in having very happy customers, and one of which that had been doing the rounds is Vato. So Vato is a fintech, they're a payment company, and they've quickly understood the power of expansion through EOR. And, you know, they've written testimonials about the great works we've done together. And this is just but an example of many, many other companies that have profited from us. And to be precise, over 1,000 companies are enjoying our services from an EOR, from a payroll as a service, and even from a software as a service as well. So the list is endless. It makes logical sense. The numbers do add up. And to be honest, if you ask me today, the only sensible way to expand in under 2 weeks will definitely be, or I'll give you an example. Most of the multinationals have this misconception that, you know, Africa is just one block of a country, which is not. And I've gotten the opportunity to work with a number, and the shocker is always, you know, we assumed we'll just, you know, expand and copy and paste whatever we're doing in Europe, in the US. But then they're hit with the shock of knowing that we are so nuanced. Now, the other day I was making fun of how hard it is to, or rather how tickets are higher from Kenya to Nigeria than to Europe. And I was just telling them, look, we sort of have very nuanced labor laws. We have very nuanced processes, not to talk about the cultures even. And so to answer your question, Zippo, these companies get to profit heavily from us being local, being incorporated in multiple markets. And then with a simple plugin, we're able to just enable them fit into the culture, be compliant, pay statutories, and support happy employees across multiple markets in Africa.
Sure. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Jonathan. I think there is a question for you in the chat. So what is the costing model without giving your business secrets, of course?
Good question. The cost is fair, and in the same spirit of cost saving and revenue optimization, we are well aware of the market. We are well aware of the cost constraints that startups have. And so we remain very competitive. And one advantage that we have against all of our competition is the ability to have a local presence. So with a local presence, we jump a lot of hoops when it comes to third-party costs, because a lot of our competition is heavily reliant on third-party players. So we take away all that headache. You don't need to talk to 2 or 3 entities in order to hire an employee in whatever market. So to answer your question, really, we're very competitive and we're very considerate. Joshua did make mention that we like to handhold companies. We like to grow together. So for us, it's just a sell you and go kind of business. It's work with you, handhold you, and let's grow together.
Sure. Thank you so much. I think we are almost at the end of our session. I'm just trying to see if we would be able to put up a poll for everyone to just interact. Just a minute, really just to get to understand that, after this session, how do you see EOR fitting into your hiring strategy? Let's just try and see if we are able to set up a poll now. I think while we do that, if you have any questions for Jonathan, please feel free to put them in the chat. Okay, so I think we will put the question in the Q&A box that we wanted to put on the poll. So we can just get engaging from there. One minute. Okay, I think the question has been posted. So yeah, if you can just, share with us how you see EOR fitting into your hiring strategy, just so we get to understand if, any of the things discussed here today were helpful into helping you understand how easy it can be to help your hiring goals in Africa particularly. Okay, just give a few minutes for everyone to just go through the question and share their insights. Okay, so I think while I wait for you to to think of the answer that you'd maybe like to share with us in the Q&A box, maybe I can just do a brief highlight on some of the things that we were able to cover in the session. So hopefully everyone got to understand EOR and PO as well as AOR and the differences between the two. We also got to learn about the tax risks related to you misclassifying which service to use or choosing the wrong service to use. And I think we also dived deep into the complexities with employment contracts, really getting to understand that with every country, obviously comes different laws. So you can't really treat the different markets as a one size fits all. It's quite important to understand the differences in that and to also work with someone that really understands the market. And then I think we also went through the differences, the difference between EOR and outsource, which was a question that came from the attendees, which I think is quite a question that is also a very common misclassification. A lot of people would naturally think that EOR means outsourcing, and it's really not. I think Josh did a very good job in just explaining the differences between the two. And I think also most importantly, we were able to cover some of the things that you can look at when vetting an EOR partner that you can use for your hiring needs, which I think is obviously very important, because you want to work with someone that knows what they're doing, because payroll, compliance, and I think taxes are just very sensitive and complex in the different countries. So you really want to work with someone that is experienced in doing the EOR work in those markets. So yeah, just checking to see if we've had any. The poll question is not displaying options. Yeah, I don't think we were able to successfully set up the poll. So you can maybe just share your feedback on the chat with us in terms of how you see EOR fitting into your hiring strategy. Apologies about that technical difficulty. I think also while we do that, maybe we can just ask Josh to give us final remarks on I think some of the pros and cons, or things that are very important for people to know, maybe around compliance or taxation, or even EOR just in general. Over to you, Josh.
Thank you, Zippo. Maybe just to highlight the takeaways is that compliance is non-negotiable. We have business models that help you as a business, with a small, large enterprise, just to scale up. Okay, we have a model that suits you as a business. So don't be afraid to reach out to us. Don't be afraid. Don't think that this one you're a small business, this model does not work for you. Just change your mindset and look at it as, how can this company called Workpay help me as a business to scale up? And trust me, here at Workpay, we will grow with you, because we understand you might be small now, but you are growing, and we want to work with you through every step of your growth and help you stay compliant. Because at the end of the day, a compliant business has a much higher success rate of survival than a business that is not compliant. Yeah, it might escape a few. It might escape not paying taxes a few times here and there, but it will. The tricks will catch up in time, and it might erase all your growth as a business, and we don't want that. So takeaways is that this is a model that works across all businesses, regardless of the size, regardless of the industry in which you are. We will help you in each and every industry, as we have expertise that will work with you in whatever aspect of your business you want to be assisted in. So that will be my takeaway. Don't be afraid that you want to scale in a very remote country. We are there, trust me. We are there, and we'll help you to stay compliant as you focus on your forte and scale up. Yes. So that will be like my takeaway. Zippo, back to you.
Sure. Thank you so much for that remark, Josh. Any final remarks on your side, Jonathan?
Sure, and thanks, Zippo, for the opportunity. So my final remarks would just be, expansion for me and for any business out there, I think, is the natural course of things for any growing business. And Workpay is at the intersection of that. We are, I would say, the gateway to Africa and other European markets. And simply plugging to us means expansion, it means growth, it means compliance, and it means not only growth for you, growth for us, but also growth for you as an entity. So we would like to encourage you to reach out to us, seek for demos. Demos are free. We have those available at any other at our websites, and we offer those free of charge. So don't be shy to check us out. Don't be shy to ask questions. Joshua did mention that we have a whole suite of information on our website around compliance, around regulation, around statutories. Feel free to make good use of those free tools that we extend, and let's grow and expand together into the African market. Over to you.
Sure. Thank you very much. Thanks, Josh and Jonathan. Again, if there are any questions from the attendees, please feel free to put that in the Q&A box. We just have, I think, 2 more polls that we should hopefully be able to pull up. Just give us a second. And, it's really just to get to understand if anyone in the webinar is interested in hearing more about Workpay's EOR services. So we will put that up shortly. Okay, I think the poll is up. If we can please just participate on the poll. Okay, great. So we have received everyone that has indicated that they are interested in hearing more about Workpay's services. I think the next question maybe that we would like to, or the feedback that we would like to get you is really just to understand your experience with today's webinar. So we'll put another poll up and you can maybe just rate, give us a rating on the poll. I think we have someone that has raised their hand. George, do you have a question for us?
Yes, I have a question, Zikro.
Sure, go ahead.
My question is, we in Tanzania and Dar es Salaam, we experience some of our customer requests, some of customization of the system. Example, one of the customer asking for when you're processing a payroll report, he wants to see a logo on that Excel report. I think maybe is out of the matter, but that is a question. You understand?
Sure. Josh, maybe you can help us out with that one. You're muted.
Sorry for that. George, I didn't quite get the question, but are you talking about you're trying to generate a report?
Yes.
Okay, so if you're experiencing challenges generating a report on the Workpay platform, just reach out to our product support and they will assist you with this. They will walk with you through the journey, and in case it's an issue, they will help you resolve it. So kindly just feel free to reach out to us. We'll assist you in that.
Okay, fine, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that, George. Any final questions? Please feel free to put them up. Okay, I can see we got quite a lot of 5 stars. Thank you so much. The 3 stars, we will try very hard next time to get you to give us a 5-star. Yeah, I think if you can also maybe share your insights or feedback to us on the Q&A, that would also be helpful. But yeah, I think we're coming to the end of our session, and I'd really like to thank everyone for being part of the session, and we hope that we've given you a lot of clarity when it comes to how EOR works, or some of the things that you need to be mindful of, just to make sure that whatever decision you make, it's a compliant decision that's not going to cost you your business, cost you money, and I think cost you a lot of time. If you have, I think, any further questions, or if you want to connect with our team, I think you can connect with us on social media. We have a Workpay page on LinkedIn. You can also be able to connect with our 2 guest speakers, which is Josh and Jonathan, for today. So thank you so much to everyone that has joined.